Okay, everybody, let's take a moment, look at the disclaimer. This content is for educational, entertainment, and informational purposes only. Nothing should be taken as a recommendation to buy, sell, or hold any securities at any time. We're here just to tell you how we look at the markets here at BTA. This is Rod from BTA, and we are known as the middle traders. We are not going to get in at the exact bottom, and we are not going to get out at the exact top. Money in the middle. Okay, today I wanted to go over one of the stocks that we mentioned back on the 17th when we had the file today. A couple of the stocks we had to get out of very quickly, but Pfizer never stopped running. Okay, we're gonna bring up the chart. Here we're looking at a daily chart of Pfizer, and we have LOIS on the chart, our algorithm LOIS. So look how this vertical line we have here is the 17th. That's when we first mentioned Pfizer, along with about 3 other stocks. We didn't go on all of them that we mentioned, but we went in about 2 other stocks, just made the third one. But this is a daily chart of Pfizer, and the vertical line, like I said, is on the 17th of May. And that's when we first mentioned the Pfizer. Now, if you notice, Lois had put the blue line underneath price way before that, almost 10 to 15 days before that. But what we wanted to do, well, to be exact, we got here 2, 4, 6, 8, about 10 to 15 days, 10 days. But even though Lois generated the buy signal by giving us the blue line underneath price, we wanted to wait until it could get back above this yellow moving average right here, which is the 21-day moving average, and above this fractal right here. Okay, and we also had this downward trending internal trend line. See this downward trending internal trend line. We also had that downward trending internal trend line. So even though Pfizer was making its way back up, we decided to wait, even though Lois had generated the buy signal about 15 days earlier. So as Pfizer started moving up on this day, on the 17th, that's when we got we got a follow-through day on that day. And we had the breakout of this internal trend line. We got above this horizontal resistance area on top of this fractal right here. And Lois was still showing the buy signal. So we went in on that day. Now, we try to keep definitely the lowest, the blue line. If it breaks below that blue line, then that's a problem, of course. It might be time to get out. And we also look at the 21-day moving average as a critical level to tell us whether or not the stock is trying to find support and rally, or it's starting to break down. So actually, and we use that on a closing basis, So actually, since we went into the stock where we saw prices get below the 21-day moving average, and it also went below lowest a little bit, but on the closing basis, it closed above that. The very next day, as you can see here, it gapped up, and it kept running and never looked back. Well, right now, today, okay, we have hit this fractal here, and we have generated not generated, we came up upon some resistance area. This is an area of interest. This horizontal line here is an area of interest. But we also broke above the upper downward trending trend line. We opened up right near it, right below this resistance here, and then we traded above it, and we kind of stopped right here at it today. So as of right now, that's where we're trading at, a little bit below this horizontal resistance area there. But as you notice, Lois definitely called it right on time. Okay, I actually called it a lot earlier. We didn't want to go in that early because we, like I said, we wanted to get above the 21 day, but she did call it. Okay, now this is a daily chart of Pfizer, just showing our moving averages. So also on the day that we went in, on the pivot day that we went in, you see we broke right above this red moving average here. But we found support at the 21 day. And look at this royal blue line and this crayon line. Those are the 150 and the 200-day moving average. You see we never broke below that. You see we never got below and closed below the 150 and the 200-day. So this day was a shakeout, but it never really should have shooken you out completely because it found support right there. It wanted, well, we shouldn't say it was a shakeout. It wanted to act as a shakeout. It tried to shake you out. But if you're using these levels that we talk about all the time on our uh, weekly meetings on Monday and Thursday, we always talk about the 150-day EMA and the 200-day SMA acting as support and sometimes resistance. Well, we traded right down to it. We didn't close below it. Very next day, we gapped up, okay, just a little bit, got above the 50-day moving average. The 5-day has trended up. Not one day did we close below the 5-day. Haven't even come close to the 9. And now the 21 is about to cross the 50. This yellow line is about to cross the red line. The 21-day is about to cross the 50. That's what we call our silver cross. Very powerful, shows a lot of momentum. That's what we're looking for. Okay, now this is a daily chart of Pfizer also. All right, and we have the 50-day moving average, which is the red moving average here. And then we have a 150-day SMA, which is the magenta, 150-day EMA, which is the royal blue. We spoke about that a few minutes ago. And then we still have the crayon 200-day. And as you notice, we came down right to all of that. And then on the day that we gapped up, we got above the 50-day and we got above the 150-day SMA, and we haven't never looked back. And notice here, we have the MACD here, and we have a stochastic, and we have the KST. Okay, if you notice that the MACD gave us a bullish crossover right around, it looks like sometime right around when LOIS gave us the buy signal. We got a bullish crossover there. Histogram turned positive. And on the day that we tested, the support at the 200-day, notice that the MACD line had finally got above zero. Well, we know that's very powerful because when the MACD line get above zero, that means on the chart, the faster moving average, which is the 12, crossed above the 26. Okay, so that's very powerful indication there, right? But we know now that we got a crossover on the 12 and the 26. It's a lot of momentum now heading towards the upside. And look at the stochastic. The stochastic gave us a bullish crossover somewhere around when LOIS signaled also. And it's right now well up into the overbought area. Well, we like for stocks to get in somewhere when it's getting above 50 and then it starts going into the oversold area, because that means that we're gaining a lot of momentum, right? That's what we want to see. That means we're gaining a lot of momentum and we're getting more upside momentum. And the stochastic is telling us that the prices are closing higher and higher within this range. Okay, so now this is a daily chart, just the structure. Just the structure. We kind of looked at that earlier, but this with LOIS, but this is just the structure with the moving averages and the trend lines. Well, we can see that on the pivot, on the day that we bought in on the 17th here, you see we got, like I said, we got above this downward trend line. We got above this resistance level here. It did pull back, tried to shake you out, but it found support at the moving averages, gapped up, and ran up. Now we just broke above this other area of interest, which acted at was we were concerned that it may act as resistance. We pulled back on it, but the very next day, today, we traded up. We got right on top of this other downward trending trend line across the highs, and we're trading up. Okay, we know we had a fractal right here. Okay, we saw that on LOIS's chart, but this is the next strong area of interest. So maybe we could trade right up to that, and let's see if we can break through. All right, let's see if we can break through there. So Pfizer is looking good. All right, we see on the Bollinger Bands. All right, we see on the Bollinger Band it is in the buy zone. Okay, it's trading well inside of the two upper blue lines here. Okay, this is the buy zone. The red lines are the sell zone. So we're well into the buy zone right now, and we traded up. That's great. Look at the RSI. The RSI got above 50, came back, tried to test the 50 level, and now we up into the overbought area. Wonderful. That's what we want to see. The rate of change never turned back negative, and it's positive. Okay, 8.47 is positive. And the check in money flow, which is just a volume weighted RSI, uh, turned positive. The histogram turned positive, and it's expanding. So money is coming into Pfizer. All right, momentum money is coming into Pfizer, momentum and money. So Pfizer is seeming to be good. So far we're out of the woods now. Okay, we are definitely out of the woods now on the trade. Pfizer uh, may turn back, but we can't take a loss on it now. All right. So now, if you notice, this is the green line is a moving average line of closing prices. Notice it pulled back on the 17th. We that's when we went in. Okay, but you noticed the pullback after we went in. That was what they wanted to be a shakeout, and then it rallied and it got right above this prior peak right here. Look what the on balance volume did here. Look at the on balance volume, a running total of volume. Look at that volume. It pulled back, blasted through, and look at that volume going up. Okay, that's showing that the larger institutional investors are definitely buying Pfizer. Okay, when you see that volume, that on balance volume breaking above highs, along with price or before price, that's telling you somebody's buying. Look at the accumulation distribution line. Same thing. It's going straight up, broke above its previous high, and the price volume trend is doing the same thing. So all three of our volume indicators are telling us that it's volume coming in, somebody's buying, institutional investors are probably buying into Pfizer. All right. Well, here's the chart of the guppy. As you can see, the magenta line of closing prices here uh, is above the green. It's the faster term moving averages, and the red moving averages is the longer term moving averages. As you can see, the magenta line of closing prices has got above the green, which is the faster, and the red, which is the slower moving average, and they are starting to, the green moving averages have flipped now, and they're expanding to the upside. That's what we want to see. And if you notice right here, the longer term red moving averages, the longer term moving averages now are starting to tighten up and starting to show signs that it wants to flip. Okay, so if we can get the red moving averages to flip, the magenta line to stay above the shorter term green moving averages, then guess what? Then if that's the case, okay, Pfizer may have a lot more upside for us. Okay, Pfizer may have a lot more upside to go. All right, so let's now look at this is a daily chart of the market profile. And like I said to y'all before, on all of the classes that we have on Monday and Thursdays, if you notice here, these levels, okay, these yellow levels are the points of control. And normally when you get above a point of control, you're going to go back to the next level. So I would not be surprised if Pfizer goes up here, may stall a little bit at this high, break above it, and come right back to this point of control up here, which is somewhere around $60. Okay. So you see here, this is the prior point of control. When we broke out on the 17th, we got above it, it pulled back, okay, found support at this prior point of control and ran right to the next one. Okay, now it's above this point of control. We got to see if we get above the fractal that it's at now. And then it could come back and test this high here, and it may make its way back all the way to the point of control over here. So on the point of control chart, remember the point of control is the volume at a price level, the highest volume at a specific price. That's what the point of control is. And now here's LOIS on the weekly chart. So we saw LOIS signaled us on the daily chart, but LOIS signaled us on the weekly chart now. We into the second week where LOIS has given us our buy signal Okay, on the weekly chart, the blue line is below price. So we into the second week. You notice when the blue line get below price, you can see how price can continue to move up. And when the magenta line get above price, it acts as resistance as price moves down. So that's the power in LOIS. Okay, once she signals, you can almost use LOIS, the price level for LOIS, as your stop, because you see here price very rarely close back below LOIS. When it does, that's when you know the trend may have flipped. So LOIS gives us our the launch of the immediate swing. That's what LOIS stands for. L for launch, O for of, I for immediate, and S for swing. Launch of the immediate swing. So we're looking for that swing, upward or downward. Well, right now, LOIS has given us the blue line. Okay, the swing is clearly up. We're going to see if it could turn into a trend. All right. So Pfizer is right now it's showing very strong momentum. It's breaking above key resistance and key trend lines. And you can see here we got the on the weekly chart, we got this longer term trend line right here across the highs. We just broke above that. So the key now is that it may pull back and stall. But the question is, can it stay above this trend line here on the weekly chart? And of course, not break below LOIS. So since the 17th, since we mentioned Pfizer as a position on the 17th, like I said, I believe two of the other ones that we didn't trade all of the stocks that we mentioned on that day, but two of the other ones we got stopped out for a small loss. Okay, but Pfizer's been running, and since the day that we mentioned Pfizer, it's up almost $5 right now, so that's not bad. And we talking about in almost a week and a half or so. Well, just say today is the 26th, so over 10 days. Not counting the weekend, it wasn't a trading day, but yeah, it's not bad. So Pfizer is not doing bad. Let's see if it can continue. Let's see if the market holds up, then Pfizer probably holds up. If the market pulls back, then we probably get a little weakness in Pfizer. Okay, so I'm going to be doing a second part to this. We're talking about some of the fundamentals in Pfizer. Pfizer has some very strong fundamentals. So if we do get the relief rally that we're looking for in the overall market, I would not be surprised if Pfizer run back to all-time highs, because it is very fundamentally strong. So we're going to go over the fundamentals of Pfizer in the part two. All right, take care.